This is camera view E19. We commonly refer to this as Echo 19. And it's a 16 millimeter camera with a 10 millimeter field of view for the lens, the focal length of the lens. And it's running at 400 frames a second. So the effective shutter speed is really 1/1200th of a second.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, this is all a slow motion event. And basically you're going to see the 6 seconds prior to launch of the vehicle as the Space Shuttle main engines turn on. Now the purpose of this camera, they all have different purposes. Most of these, if not all of these cameras that you're going to see in this production are engineering cameras to look for different engineering aspects of the launch process. And so the purpose of this one is to check to make sure ignition is going off okay, which is what you're seeing here. Main engine start is just happening, and you can see the engines are starting one at a time. This particular camera looks at engines number 1 and 3, right? Is that what this is?
Yep.
And so you can see them, they're starting to fire up. Those sparkers that you see are there to make sure that any unburned hydrogen gets ignited before it floats around and collects in some place where it can ignite later and cause problems. Again, you're seeing the engine sort of turn on here. And so we're roughly coming into about 5 seconds before liftoff. The computers are checking and validating that everything's A-OK. And there's a little bit of a pitch over that the whole vehicle does as a consequence of these engines thrusting off the center of gravity. And when the whole vehicle snaps back and is straight up in the air, the engines or the boosters ignite and the whole thing takes off. Great photography here. I mean, you can see all this flow phenomenon going on inside the engines. Now, the Space Shuttle main engines are burning hydrogen and oxygen, and I'll talk about some of the fun facts about that later on in some of the other clips that you're going to see. But here you can see the engines have stabilized and everything is A-OK. And in just a few moments, you'll see the boosters fire off. Did we talk about the time code? I can't remember. So.
No, we haven't talked about the time code. The time code that you'll see, the LED display on the right-hand side, is actually positioned between the two sprockets on the 16 millimeter frame. And the time code is UTC time code. It's an IRB format. And you'll see that it's 21 hours, being UTC at 5:02 p.m. local time, 2 minutes, 11 seconds. And the 3 digits that are moving in the upper right-hand corner would be representing 1,000th of a second. The solid number 1, the second digit from the top, is indicating the synchronization of the camera as more of a technical parameter. And that is on every camera to synchronize the field of view, to synchronize the time.
This is pretty cool. You can see some of the oxygen, that cloud of vapor there was from the oxygen fuel umbilical. Of course, the solid rocket boosters have now ignited, and the whole vehicle is lifting off the pad. And you can see sort of the glory of this moment. I mean, there's an enormous amount of fuel being burned. One little thing that I love is if you look at the sky in the background, and this was a very clear day. These pictures were selected, or these movies were selected because of the wonderful photography that we got on this day. And you can see the sky deep into this dark blue, and that's because, as Kevin will talk later on, that we got into color correction that we do post launch to make sure that we're capturing all of these the events that are going on, all of the flow events. So here the vehicle is clearing the pad, and